Okay, this is this, and I'm only making this video because, well, more console news. What a shock, if you haven't really guessed. In today's related news, hell just froze over. Sony fucked up. I mean, yeah, again, but after having so many successes with the PlayStation 4's announcements and just getting everybody hyped on PS4, Sony is just kicking ass and just taking names. And I'm also finding on the internet that more and more people are agreeing with me, even though they still tell me to fuck myself and I don't know anything about games, even though I'm been the one who's consistently been right and say everything that they've been saying before they say it. But what the fuck ever. The main thing is that Microsoft and Sony does not have an incredible launch title. I mean, does not have an incredible launch library on both of their sides, except maybe Dead Rising 3 on Microsoft's side and Killzone Shadowfall. I mean, Killzone's a good game, but it's not a real console seller. And Dead Rising 3, yeah, that's all they got. And there's a good chance he'll probably go third party if sales really don't pick up. I mean, Microsoft also had Forza 5, but due to the fact that Microsoft had made it a bunch of fucking fucked up announcements about Forza 5, said a bunch of fucking things, did a bunch of fucking bullshit things, and then started tampering with the Forza game and saying that you're only going to get half the game, and if you want the other half, you're going to have to download it off the internet. Fuck you, gamers. Basically, Microsoft got on the stage, held up both middle fingers, and told all the gamers to go fuck themselves. And then saying, yep, oh yeah, fuck the gamers. Fuck the gamers. And now they got their first Xbox commercial that, all about football and not one game. I mean, they could have at least put a Madden game in there if they were going to have a commercial about footballs. But nope. Not one video game at all in the football season. I mean, you want those people who are going to go out there and buy Madden, you show them Madden. And Titanfall's not going to be a launch title. And it's not even a console exclusive because it's going to Xbox 360 and the PC. And the PC's the one that hurts it even the most. I'm not kidding. The PC version is the main reason why Titanfall, everybody's not getting up there and rushing and yelling Titanfall's going to be the greatest game from Xbox One. And yeah, I hear everybody else saying, well, PCs are always one step ahead of consoles. Technically, that is true, except for the first in generation of video game consoles' life. Consoles kind of had a head start on those two generations. It's after, the third generation of consoles that basically PCs started killing. Basically, what happened was the great video game crash of 1983, and there was several factors that happened. Atari fucked up, but one of the other big things that hit was Microsoft and Apple got in the computer business, and ever since then, PCs have just been, you know, having the latest and greatest in graphics. Before then, companies like Mattel and even Atari themselves were making personal PC computers that were mainly just sold for the side for a couple of documents and stuff like that. Yeah, they had some graphics and some game capabilities, but mostly it was just for documents and office shit, or just for really rich people. Yeah, believe it or not, Mattel used to make fucking computers. Oh, and Commodore. But then they ended up selling, but Mattel ended up selling that whole division off to Nintendo, which ended up helping to create the NES. Ha ha. But anyways, on to the news at hand. Sony. Um, Sony did some good things and then fucked up in a couple areas. They're trying to save the Vita. Bad move, Sony. There's nothing that's going to save the Vita. The 3DS pretty much killed it, along with all the mobile devices, and the mobile devices are just killing Sony. And nobody cares for that remote play crap, except for the hardcore gamer and the Sony fanboys. And it's just not going to save the Vita. Vita's gone. I love everything about the PlayStation 4, but I do not care for Vita. Vita just is useless to me. There's nothing in the Vita worth getting. And to add salt onto the absolute stupidity, they created the PS Vita TV. And they're basically saying that this is to help contend against Apple TV. Only a few problems with this thinking, Sony. Number one, Apple TV is dead. It's been dead for a while. And going after a dead project that nobody cares about, not even Apple anymore? What are you, fucking stupid? And when did Apple TV have anything of breaking into the console business? I mean, in the real world, it was never. But in the Apple fan group, yes, I'm an Apple fanboy, but I'm not in this area. I'm in the Apple fanboys who pretty much understood reality and went with that. But in the Apple fanboys who were pretty much in limbo, basically all thought their 360s were Apple TVs now. And that whatever market the Xbox 360s was in, the Apple TV was in. You know, shoot yourself in the fucking head and then leave yourself bleeding all over the floor because you're all a bunch of fucking morons. And yeah, Apple TV had a feature called AirPlay. In fact, AirPlay is still being used because all the iOS devices comes with it, even including the iPod Touch now. But you know what? You don't need the Apple TV anymore. They came up with a new updated Lightning HDMI connector that you can connect to your new iPad or any of the new iOS devices, so you don't need AirPlay for that. And AirPlay can work on your fucking Mac. Of course, you need a special program. Me, I use AirServer, but you can use you can use AirPlay on your Mac now and on your PC with a special program. AirPlay was created to save Apple TV. It didn't work. I repeat, it didn't work at all. And not only did that, to add the salt to the even more stupid thing, Sony came up with an app for iOS and Android that acts like Smart Glass. You know, the Smart Glass that's for Windows phones, if anybody's even using those fuckers anymore. iOS and Android called Smart Glass. Which, yeah, I pretty much figured you realize that. And Sony is coming out with that app too. And that app is pretty much the final nail in the Vita's coffin. Because guess what? That app does exactly what the PS Vita's remote play is going to do. I mean, the only thing the PS Vita is probably good for is if which this function ain't going to be ready until somewhere out next year. Fucking fail on that one. Is that you can stream from your PS4 through the PS Vita TV. And it's probably good for, like, I don't know, if you could take one to your mother's house or your friend's house, play on your PS4 through the Vita TV while the PS4 is still at your house. That does work. So yeah, success in that area. But beyond that, there's nothing else to really take. Me, I have nowhere else to really take my PS4 and and stream it to the PS Vita TV onto another person's TV. It's just no point. Nothing. It's just there's nothing. And added to the fact that Sony is going after a market where a product died, and they're saying, "Oh, we need to stop this market because it's hitting the console market pretty big." Yeah, a canceled dead product is getting into that console market. Yeah, those Apple TVs are selling so well that Xbox 360s and PS3s are selling at extremely low numbers because of Apple Television, which Apple is no longer making. Next thing I know, Ford's going to push out more cars because Pontiac is making a shitload more cars than, the G4s or G3s, whatever they call those cars, which is pretty much going to be kind of impossible due to the fact that Pontiac is gone. And all they do is just make one car now. That's it. They just make one car. Their entire factory, everything else is gone. They ain't a competitor anymore. What next? The Hyperscan is digging into the fucking console sales, Sony? Please, stop giving out dead products that are digging into the consoles that didn't even make a dent at all. And to the Apple fanboys, drop the Apple TV shit. It's dead and gone. Apple failed on the Apple TV a long time ago. Stop hyping it up or pretending that it's going into the fucking console market because it ain't. It's dead. Apple was told if they wanted to get into the TV market, they would have to come up with a gaming console of their own, and they didn't do it. And thus, they got their asses thrown out. But please, let the Apple TV die with some kind of dignity instead of the made up bullshit you guys are making. But I'll say this, the rest was good. I mean, they showed a bunch of good games, and I think they increased the launch library of the PS4, which is not shocking. In fact, I think we may end up seeing a diminishing number in Xbox One, because, well, yeah, like I wasn't going to bash the Xbox One. And yes, I've seen the leak videos where they were showing, and yeah, I was somewhat right where I said the fast switching between the programs and having programs run, especially with 3 operating systems, that's not impossible. In fact, I predicted that functionality would work almost flawlessly, and it wouldn't have been a real problem with the 3OS. The only thing is I still think it's going to cause a performance problem. But I really can't say anything until the actual damn thing is out and other people have got it in their hands. But what I've read in the comments and everywhere, and what people were talking about, they didn't really much like the interface because of the macro interface that's on Windows 8 is not that well loved, and that's pretty much what the Xbox One's interface looks like. It's basically the Windows 8 macro interface, and nobody likes it. I mean, even the touchscreen people seem to hate it. Even though everybody else is saying, well, it's great for touchscreens. And that's what I hear constantly. But then when they actually go out and buy it, they would rather buy an iOS or an Android. Yeah. The Windows 8 tablets are just apparently aren't that appealing. But hey, you got your start button back, right? And there's like definitive proof Twitters from actual developers that are saying that the PS4 is more powerful than the Xbox One, which pretty much ends that argument. And to add, by the way, people aren't mad that the Xbox One is weaker. I mean, they are mad that it's weaker in graphics and power. They're also more mad that it's a weaker console and it's more expensive. When something is weaker, it's supposed to be cheaper, like the Wii U or even the Wii, not be priced higher. And the Xbox One is the most expensive of all the consoles right now, and yet it's weaker than the PS4. What the fuck? And really, Microsoft? And as for that multitasking that everybody was saying that they saw in the league video, where you're able to run the game and go through the Metro interface, that's really nothing new. Just check out PS4's Gamecom when they showed off their interface. Yeah, when Sony showed off their interface for the PS4 over at Gamecom, and it was able to do the same exact thing. So it's not that much of a shocking effect. And it was pretty much expected to happen. So yeah, it's nothing new. That what they showed on that video, if it was leaked or on purposely, shown, I can honestly tell you there was just really nothing that that we pretty much knew about the PS4 and the Xbox One that I mean, whatever they features they showed on the Xbox One, we saw on the PS4's interface as well, just with a different type of interface. I mean, the fast switching, the instant bringing up the video game, which I mean, I think that they ran that Rune game off the hard drive or Rise, yeah, Rune Rise. I think they ran that Rise game off the hard drive instead of the actual disc because you know, and I think they did the same off the PS4 interface too, over at Gamecom, and it's just that discs are a little bit more slower, and so it just takes some time. And also because you can download, and downloading and having it on your disk drive is a hell of a lot more better. You get a more instant game, and everything comes up a lot more faster. But this video is not going to be seen by very much people, and nobody's going to talk about it because, But whatever. I'm just putting that out, and that's all I got.